Hey guys, Peter here. I'm a fan of fantasy RPGs and Elder Scrolls series is definitely big whether you like it or not. I like this franchise, though there are some points about Skyrim and the previous games that I find unfit for a game of this magnitude. Also, I'm curious what the next adventure in the world of Nirn is going to look like, therefore let's speculate and wish a little bit. Elder Scrolls games are big. I said this once already, but before I addressed the popularity of TES and now I have the scale of the game itself on my mind. Sure, some might say there's nothing wrong with the size of the game worlds, that you can have a lot of fun, explore and that you get your money's worth, but I would disagree. Due to the fact that there is so much terrain, it is not possible to make it distinct. Once you've seen a tree, you've seen them all. Once you've seen a mountain, and so on. I don't want to repeat myself. Bethesda is, sadly, unable to craft interesting places. In fact, I'd even risk saying the worlds in Elder Scrolls are randomly generated. It's just all the same caves, same strongholds, etc. It's fun to visit a few dungeons, but then it becomes boring, and I mean Kirsten Stewart boring. On the contrary, the first two parts of Gothic series have well-designed worlds. They are smaller than the ones in Elder Scrolls, but the landscapes are shaped interestingly and there are a lot of landmarks, which makes it easy to roam there without a map. The world isn't the only oversized element. There are tons of quests in Elder Scrolls, but they are repetitive. Let's assume there are 200 quests in a game. If 50 of them are fetch assignments and another 50 are assassination jobs, then the variety is murdered in cold blood. I wouldn't call myself a completionist, but I like to do most of the quests in a game. Moreover, I lick walls in games. I have to see every nook and cranny to find items and resources. Therefore, I'm unable to reach the end in Elder Scrolls. If I try to stick to the main quest, I have the feeling of leaving something unfinished. So I'd usually go and do some side quests. And then, after a few dozens of hours with numerous side quests done and the main quest almost untouched, I'm bored of the game and start playing something else. The game also needs more depth to the exploration. Since mountains are a part of Elder Scrolls worlds, why not add some climbing ability, or at least the possibility to climb edges for that matter? There's jumping anyway, so why not make it more useful? Imagine you could get a rope or some claws and access a cave situated in a normally inaccessible place. And here we get to another problem of Bethesda. They don't make the exploration worthwhile. I assume that even if they made dungeons hard to find or access, you'd only find a rusty hoe and a few coins in there. That was of course an exaggeration. You find other stuff too, but it's usually useless since you don't utilize that certain kind of equipment or you already found tons of that particular item. Weapons and armors should be more unique or harder to obtain. Generally speaking, curiosity should be rewarded. The moves. I already mentioned that jumping is quite useless in Elder Scrolls because usually you utilize the skill to hop over stones and buckets as there is no ledge climbing ability. But jumping's a secondary topic. Fighting is what I mainly wanted to discuss here. You generally have a few moves like overhead strikes, horizontal attacks, thrusts and smashing finishers. I have nothing against those. Finishers are great. In case of Skyrim, the regular attacks look like wheat threshing and generally look unappealing, but that's not the main point here. The problem with fighting system in Elder Scrolls is that it's based on pointing your crosshair at the characters rather than on colliding hitboxes. This causes situations when your enemy is slightly off your crosshair but you can plainly see that your weapon hit, touched or went through them and yet they weren't harmed. Moreover, there is no dodging move and generally much diversity or anything particularly distinct, so melee fights are just boring and look stiff. Strikes don't feel satisfying, and frankly, during my 70 hours with Skyrim I decided to mainly use bow, and that means a lot as far as I'm concerned, cause I love swords. The conclusion for the above is that fighting system needs improvement. The animations are also stiff and definitely look like they weren't made with mocap, which should be a standard for big productions nowadays. The animations are not much of a problem, they are only bothering when in third-person mode, which also sucks. Something about it makes it quite impossible to play in that point of view. I mean, yeah, you can travel like that, but fighting and picking things up is tedious. This might sound like a minor thing, but I like looking at my character and would like to get a properly made third-person mode in the next TES. Level scaling. It was implemented in both Oblivion and Skyrim. This system gives the enemies enough strength to match you, and I think it should not be included in the next part of the franchise. Why? It's an element that takes away the sense of development and becoming strong. In the last two installments of the TES series you still develop, but your foes are equally strong, so why even have the possibility to level up? However, getting rid of level scaling is not enough. Morrowind is a perfect proof of that because this mechanic was unbalanced or non-existent there. I'm not sure. After playing a while, you can easily notice that most of your opponents will be a piece of cake to defeat. I never made it to the end of that game, and I said why before, but I heard that after playing long enough, you can defeat the final boss with one hit. Sounds ridiculous, but it's unconfirmed info, so if you know for sure whether it's possible, please tell me. Anyway, fixing level scaling seems easy to do. In most RPGs, the longer you play, the more powerful you become. That gives you the feel that you progress, and you can also feel badass, usually near the end. How is this achieved? The game worlds have different areas inhabited by weaker or stronger enemies. You start by visiting the parts with lesser villains and then continue to the ones more ripped. This of course limits the freedom of exploration, since you will have a hard time when you go to the wrong area too soon, but I myself prefer it that way. This is pretty much all I wanted to say on this topic, at least for now. Remember that it's only my opinion. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree, disagree? I'd like to know your opinion. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. See ya!